Social Security stimmy check. This could save Social Security. Let's do it. Brandon Gentili here. Saving Social Security. Currently, there is, we'll say, $3 trillion in the Social Security fund, rounding a little up. And here is a Social Security chart explaining just that and showing us the funds in the fund itself. We know that it is slated to go insolvent in the next decade. So how do we fix it? What do we do? What in the world is going on? CNBC article from just this year, Social Security isn't bankrupt. What we know about future benefits based on the latest trustees report. But then it says the depletion date. So it's not going bankrupt, it's the depletion date by 2035. Sounds pretty bankrupt to me. WTF is going on? This poses two main questions. How is it that people who contributed to the fund now don't have enough to be paid out and retire? And number two, how are we going to fix this problem? More importantly, show me the money. For starters, people believe, like they do about their bank, that the dollars they have been in there, sitting there, waiting for them for decades in a little black box are going to be there for them when they retire. They've been sitting there forever, just waiting for them. Just like the bank, the Social Security fund's cash gets lent out or spent on other projects and investments over and over, namely to buy votes. They take away from you and they hand the cash out to other people to buy those votes, for lack of a better explanation. I know it's upsetting for people to hear. However, the truth is the only way we can prepare ourselves for a better and brighter future for ourselves, our kids, and our grandchildren. The simple answer as to why the bank and Social Security fund is insolvent or is susceptible to bank runs is they don't have your cash. They spent it. That's why we hear about bank runs. Bank runs are only possible because the bank doesn't have your cash. And again, a story, a lady just told me the other day that I know well, went to the bank on a Saturday to try to get out $10,000 and they shut down the bank. There was a bunch of people behind her and people were all ticked off and they're like, we literally don't have that much money in the bank. Sorry, currency. We don't have that much currency in the bank. Excuse me? You're a bank. How do you not have $10,000 cash? Because they don't have the cash. They're just digits. It's just debt. It's just digits typed in a computer. There is nothing backing. It's just a confidence game. And again, this is how the Social Security fund operates as well. They don't actually have it. They're off spending it on other things. They're off spending it 15 Ukraine military packages. There it goes. There goes your Social Security. Oh, we're going to go send this boondoggle over here, omnibus bill, spending bill, pork bill, paying to look up cow farts and research that, and we're going to have reassignment surgeries in prisons. Well, there goes your Social Security funds. See ya. Would have been nice to retire, but no, they don't have it. They go spend it on acquiring votes themselves. Number one rule of politicians: get elected. Number two, get reelected. That's it. They're not looking out for you. This should make you incredibly angry that the people you entrusted are just screwing with your retirement. Your economic time and energy have been frivolously spent and stolen from you. Banks do the same thing. As in the moment you give them a deposit, it is legally no longer yours, and the banks are free to do with it pretty much whatever they wish. We go into that more in depth as to why that is in other blogs. So how do we fix the looting? How do we give ourselves an unfair advantage? My proposal, while trying to fix and uproot this corruption in the meantime, which we've explained in other blogs as well, how Bitcoin helps accomplish this simultaneously, is to invest 1% of the Social Security fund's assets into Bitcoin. At the current state, that would be $3 trillion times 1%, would it be about $30 billion. Worst case scenario, you lose $30 billion, which government can just print up that currency anyway. They just printed up $800 billion to reduce inflation by spending more money. They just printed it out of nowhere. So why can't we do that here? Let's just invest. Let's take a small conservative risk of 1% and put it into Bitcoin. Print it up anyway, and then create more inflation though, which is what will happen, and it will create more inflation by raising the prices of everything. But hey, at least you got your Social Security you were planned and you were guaranteed, but it'll become through inflation. That's how when it goes bankrupt, they'll just keep printing more currency like we see now, and inflation will continue spiraling upward. And your life will cost 10 times more, but you got your Social Security check though, just like the $600 checks and $1,200 checks we got, but now we're paying $100 for a tank of gas. So how is that $600 and $1,200 check working out for you? Getting economics lessons, the whole country getting economics lessons just in the last year or two. This is the plan to do with it anyway. Even if it goes bankrupt, the plan is already, it's going insolvent. They're just going to print money anyway. So why don't we just go with this and then do something a little different, take a small risk, a small and educated gamble, and then we can go from there. Just like we've written about in the individual level, if you take 1 to 10% of your individual wealth and you put it into Bitcoin, you stand to hedge yourself and potentially double, triple, or quadruple your portfolio in a matter of 10 to 20 years without having to take much risk. Again, only 1%. $30 billion divided by $25,000 per coin, about, again, rounding for the sake of this video, would be approximately 1.2 million Bitcoin. Bitcoin's potential. Here's the chart of where Bitcoin could be in the coming years through looking at network effects and adoption. Again, 200 trillion on Twitter is a great follow for anyone in the Bitcoin world, and he goes through the network effects and the log scale, which is how you need to look at Bitcoin, of where things are going, the adoption curve, the S-curves of how technologies take hold, and all the reasons down here as to what will play out and what probably will play out and why Bitcoin will continue being adopted, whether it's people adding it to their own balance sheets, corporations adding it to their balance sheets, governments adding to their balance sheets, sovereign wealth funds, again, demonetizing equities and real estate. So it goes through this process of why it will continue to accrue value. And you can see these massive numbers, obviously, in the coming years of the averages that it has already had this entire time, showing it's already 4 or 5 times it's done this average, and why it will continue up this arc, up this trend. So say what Bitcoin went back to the all-time high of just $70,000. You're looking at $84 billion. You took $30 billion and turned it into $84 billion, just back at its all-time high of where it's been before. Tripling your investment based off of 1% allocation from the fund. The averages of many different publications say Social Security will be bankrupt in 10 years. So if you look 10 years from now in the chart above, the average is about 3.5 to 5 million per Bitcoin right here, 2032. Even if you cut that in half, and we're extra conservative, we're only taking 1%, and then we cut this projection in half, that's only $2 million per Bitcoin. At that rate, $2 million of Bitcoin times 1.2 million Bitcoin would be $2.4 trillion. So you almost doubled the entire Social Security fund at the very time it is said to go insolvent on the current trajectory. Mind you, this is with a 1% allocation initially into Bitcoin's price today. What if we hadn't cut that 10-year projection per coin in half? What if it was really 4 million a coin or 5 million a coin? Just think. Say you put a 10% allocation initially. Just say it was only at $1 million, but say it was 2 million. We just kept that price per coin 10 years from now. And you put 10% in there. Again, what do you have to lose? We already know it's trending towards insolvency. Yet the senators who we just wrote about the other day, Durbin, Warren, and Smith, who just wrote about shaming Fidelity about offering Bitcoin to its retirees, should ironically be doing this very thing they are grandstanding against and trying to act like they are, woe to the little guy. Look at us. We so mighty. And they should be doing this very thing. They are elected there to try to help the people. And again, I don't agree with a Social Security fund in the first place, but since we have it, we need to protect the people that are in it already. I'm not expecting anything from it. I don't plan on getting anything from it, but the people are in it. You promised them something. So let's fix it. Senators, with all due respect, a 10% initial investment would be $24 trillion 10 years from now. Literally 8x what the current fund is at. Again, a 10% investment. Insane. Again, that's only with a minimal upfront investment. When we know the current thing we are doing, we know the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. We just went over this the other day. Go check out our article about the senators writing to Fidelity and the absurdity. We take that apart piece by piece. Go check our other video out. And we just read Bitcoin, the Fidelity, one of their reports. We just read that out in audio. So there's an audio version of that because it's 40, 50 minutes. You can speed it up and listen through it. An incredible breakdown as to why Fidelity is actually doing it, which I know the senators didn't read. So they would have read that. They would understand why Fidelity agrees and is investing in Bitcoin and likes Bitcoin and says it's the only asset. And then everything else is second to that. A 10% initial investment, again, 10% would be $24 trillion from now. Again, minimal upfront. And what do we have to lose? We know the current thing is going to be destroyed. And again, at the end of the day, we know people are going to get paid out their Social Security, but it's going to be through inflation, through currency printing, bailing it out, and lowering the living standards of all people, because inflation is just raising the prices of everything, like we see now, but at a higher level, and lowering the standard of life faster and faster and faster. Sometimes the easy answer is the simplest answer. Not to mention the freedom technology, which we haven't talked about in this article, but we've talked about many other videos. The freedom technology that Bitcoin is to not only take the corruption out of the system and affect so many other parts of it and take the power away from the elites. And really, a Bitcoin is the Constitution or Bill of Rights 2.0, the Articles of Confederation, the Declaration of Independence 2.0. But the first mover advantage it will have if we are the ones to do that, calling America and the leaders out now, Do it now. Be the next person, be the next country to adopt it and shake the earth to the core and say, we are in it. After that happens, there'll be an arms race to the moon, a hash race to the moon, as Max Keiser says, a hash race to the moon. And that's, again, what Bitcoin movers benefit from most. They get the soaring price appreciation. Those that are last into the economic game theory will buy at the highest prices and benefit least. It pays to be decisive and take action. Stay strong. Please, if you got something out of this, please share this. Please share this with someone you know. Maybe you know a senator, maybe you know a congressman, maybe you know an elected leader, a mayor, a county drain commissioner. I don't care. Send this to them. Please pass this along. If you got something out of this, you think someone else might get something out of this. If you didn't, please say so as well. Please dislike, please comment, please let us know we got wrong, what you think we got wrong, what your take is, or what you think we can do better so we can provide more value to you. We appreciate you more than anything, your time, your energy. It's the most important thing we have. And again, go check out our videos about the senators getting owned, owning themselves basically, calling out themselves in their article, their letter to Fidelity, and again, reading aloud our Fidelity report. We read that out. It's a 50-minute video, but speed that up, listen through that. It's an incredible breakdown of Bitcoin and why it's so powerful. And the least interesting aspect, even though this was about price a lot and fixing Social Security, the least interesting aspect, even if nothing with this had to do with price, Social Security could be fixed over time because of Bitcoin, the network, and power being taken away. The ability to just spend recklessly would be taken away from the politicians so they can't destroy your retirement. So I appreciate you so much, and we'll see you on the next one.